Block 19 is a bike. Are you as excited as I am? Hey Kimberbell friends, Cristin here, and we are continuing our progress on our vintage boardwalk quilt. And today we get to do a bike. I'm very excited. As most of you probably know, I am a cyclist. Notice my bike shirt. I love cycling, so I've been really excited to do this one. I have another one that I'm super excited about too later. All right, so today we're going to use this really pretty minty fabric that has spikes on it, and I want you to notice these spikes are directional. It doesn't look like it at first glance, but they are. So it's pretty easy. You want it to be 12.5 by 10.5, and you don't want the bikes upside down when you put it in your hoop. You want to make sure that the bikes are going the same way. All right, so it's going to be sideways in your hoop, by the way. And then we need a simple 3x3 vinyl piece. And I have chosen for our quilting today, keep in mind you can use whatever you like, but I am going to use Celebration. One of the gals in our group did use the Celebration on something else, and it was just so cute. And I've been wanting to use that one. So Celebration and horizontal, and I'm using the 8x10, and it'll feel like that's not big enough, but it is, because we are going to cut our block down to 10.5 by 8.5, and since we're using the horizontal version and our bike is sideways, it fits perfectly. Believe me, it's perfect. So if you're not doing the quilting, then you have special cut instructions. But since we're doing the quilting, we're going to do it right from the start. And the way that we're going to do it, like we have on a couple others, is we are going to quilt our block, and then we're going to move the bike design down. So when we want the bike to not look like it's floating, it's going to be 1/4 inch above, and I'll show you in the tutorial as we go. But Kimberbell puts in a placement line for those that aren't quilting so that they know where to put their fabric. And we're going to use that line to know where to position our bike. And it's just pushing it down like we did before. Super easy to do. And that's it. So let's go ahead and get started. And a quick tip for those using a smaller hoop, there are directions, actually there are files in the Vintage Boardwalk CD for double hooping this bike. There's 2 5x7s. If you're using an 8x12 hoop, you can do that. With the quilting, it'll be 8.5 like we discussed on previous blocks. And so you would have to take out steps 3 and 4, which are the placement and tack down of the main fabric. If you take those out, it will fit in your 8x12 hoop. I'm going to use my biggest hoop, 9.5 by 14. But again, it's really easy to use embroidery software. I use Sew Up Pro to be able to take out those steps if I need to. And we've already shown you how to do the double hooping to line up your design when you have a 5x7 hoop. So you should be all set on that, but feel free to ask me questions, and let's do it. Also, this design with the quilting has 25,000 stitches. And so I'm going to use cutaway. You can use tearaway, but you'd want to double up on it. Put a sheet under the hoop, and that's all. Hey everyone, so hubby had his TV on really loud and I couldn't make a video with sound. So I made a video and I'm going to try and dub in some instructions. So let's give this a try. All right, so on my machine, I go to the embroidery button, and what we're seeing first is the first part of the design is the placement stitch, and we don't need to stitch that placement stitch because we did our quilting first. So, but we are going to use it to make a placement for where our design is going to go, because like on another design that we've done before, we're going to move the design down. So I'm showing you that these buttons in the corner on my dream machine make it so that it will move the design down. At least actually at this point, it's just showing me where the design is going to go. So if I use that right button, it's showing me the bottom part of the design, and we want to be able to see where it's going to go. So that first point, it showed you that it is going to go toward the bottom, but not as nearly as far to the bottom as we need it. So we're going to move the design. So these buttons here show me how to move the design. So I went to edit and then to these arrow buttons, and I'm just moving the design down, and you can see here that the design is moving down, and I want it to go all the way down to that placement stitch at the bottom. It's like a basting stitch, and I want it all the way down there, and you'll see here. So there it is. It's at the bottom there. It's really in the perfect spot. I'm going to use that foot down button just to see exactly where it's going to go. And this is really good placement right here. And if you feel right there on your product, you can see that there is the basting underneath there, and then the 1/4 inch, and then the basting stitch. So we've got the batting, sorry, did I say that wrong? The batting, and then the 1/4 inch, and then the basting. And so that's exactly where we want this lined up. So I hope this makes sense. So here it is again, that placement stitch is at the very bottom where our basting stitch is on our design. And we want the tires right at the bottom of the design. So you can feel where your batting ends, right where I'm pointing, and that's where we want our tires to be. So we're going to use that placement stitch as our guide, and I've already gone over how to do that, and now it's in the right position. Click out of the edit screen, go back here and go to the middle, and it shows you on the design, see that little green crosshair? That's the middle of our design, and it'll show you now where the middle is of your hoop, of your hooped fabric. All right, so the middle is there, and when we click the right button, it's going to show us where the bottom of the design is. Since it's turned sideways, that's now the bottom, and you can see it's right on that basting stitch line. So it's right where it should be. Use the dirty nails. I cleaned my bike earlier. So that's all good. So this one is showing you the steps that we don't need if we quilted. So that placement is so that people that didn't quilt beforehand will know where to put their fabric. So we're going to bypass that step, and I'm just showing you how. I'm sure you already know how, but just in case, this is how I did it on my dream machine. I just go to this edit screen, move forward. See, we're right here. Oh, so this is what I'm showing you, that after that first placement, then it's doing a basting stitch, and we don't need that either because we've already done that on our fabric when we quilted. So we can bypass that one as well. And our first step will be the tires. Thumbs up, and here we go. Quick thing to point out, if we did not quilt, then you would have to move your design down to, what is it, a quarter inch from the bottom edge. But since we quilted, where ours is already ready, and we can just use, see, this is why I do it upside down. Then I can see my quarter inch all the way around and line it up just right. And you can see that our bikes, hopefully you can see this, our bike tire is literally right on the bottom edge. We did this extremely well with moving it on our machine. So we're just going to go ahead and cut 10.5 by 8.5 all the way around with our quarter inch seam allowance, and we're all good. Look it. See our quarter inch seam allowance all the way around? And look at the tires right on the bottom edge of there. Perfect. And see all the quilting up at the top and the bike at the bottom of the quilt block. Perfect. Can't wait to see yours. If you are a quilt shop owner, make sure that you are adding a link to your shop in the Cristin Creates Facebook group. There's a link in the description of this video at the bottom. Underneath the video, there's a description with a link to the Facebook group. And there's a lot of people doing this so along with us, and a bunch just joined in. So make sure that you add a link to your shop so that people know where they can get the fabric kit, the CD, the thread kit, the embellishment kit, and we're having lots of fun. So make sure that everybody can purchase the supplies that they need.